Good morning. What we're going to be talking about today is mistake number five. Mistake number five of the 7 mistakes I made when I started my business and getting it to 7 figures. So here's the thing: strategy. I'm going to type this in here. Strategy. When I started my business, I didn't know anything. So I didn't have a concrete strategy. So when you have a strategy, that means I'm thinking ahead. What am I going to do? What's the outcome that I'm looking for? What's the result that I'm working for? And it's a reverse engineering things. So you've heard me talk about the biz trifecta, right? Mindset, plan, and systems. But laying over top of that is the strategy. You now have to have the strategy so that you know where you're going, and you have to have the mindset to make sure that you're going to execute the plan and then put into systems. And frequently, what happens is people get stuck not having a strategy. It's like all about what can I do now to get a client? What can I do to show up online? And there's no forethought in what you're ultimately doing to build your business. So, and I realize today I have a little bit of my allergies going on. Sorry about that. So here's a couple things that I want to help you think about as you are, thinking about where you want to go in the future, what you want to do for 2022 and beyond. And that's really the question. Do you have an idea where you want to go beyond the next couple of months and the next year or two? Do you have a long range vision for what this would look like in your business? And here's the thing, I was just talking to someone yesterday about this, and Ashley Monk, and she's going to be on a podcast coming up. And we really talked a lot about do you have a mission? Is there a difference between online and offline? And let's look at it like this. Like, do you plan to have this business in 10 years? And are you making decisions from that place? Do you plan to make $1 million? Are you making decisions from that place? Are you implementing your strategies based on that? Or are you just grasping for trying to find clients or your next client? And this is every level of business that you might hit some certain level of success, but you still don't have that vision for where you want to go. And what happens is that you're just spinning your wheels. So I want you to think about what is it that you want? What does the next 2 to 3 to 5 years, then 10 years out look like? Is there a mission that you have? Like, what's your big vision? What's your big mission? And this is different than your passion. I've talked about this on the podcast, Lead a Life Uncommon. Remember, we hit number 31 week for entrepreneurship. So make sure you go listen to that episode. And then how do you reverse engineer so that you can create that biz trifecta, that you can be in the right mindset, so that you can understand that things are going to take time? Because I don't know about you, but when I first started online, let me tell you, and this is really rampant online today, but when I started my business 8 years ago, and this is why I'm doing this series for you, 8 years ago this month, I really just thought like, oh, you just like send out a couple emails, you show up a little bit, and boom, millions of dollars. That is not how it works. And what I find is so many times people want things now, and they're not thinking about building sustainability and that longevity. And that's what I want to ask you. What are you thinking around that? What have you thought? What are you settling for? Because you're not aware, you're not getting the short-term sacrifice, long-term gain. You're really just in the moment today. So those are some of the things that I thought about, right? And it's true. Sometimes you're going to evolve. Sometimes you're going to pivot. Sometimes you're going to try something new. Perfect. But what's the core mission? And where do you want to see yourself? See, we so far underestimate what can get accomplished over a long time, right? Because we want it all now. And then we overestimate what we can accomplish today or in the next couple of months. We can get a lot done in the couple of months, but sometimes we're not realistic on about what can actually get accomplished, especially if we're starting something new, we're adding something new, we're doing something that we've never done before, we're adding a new offer, we're doing a new launch, we're doing something that takes experimentation and testing and perfecting and tweaking. and then rinse and repeat, and then becoming aware of, oh, is this still working? Is it not? Are we holding on to what was when we still need to be focused on the future for the mission? So that's really the key things today. Who's online today? I'd love to hear what's your takeaway? I see a couple of you online. What's your takeaway? I'd love to hear what's your big goal? What are some of your key goals that you want to accomplish over the next couple of years? And is your goal worthy of investing that time to that if it takes a couple of years? This is the thing that I get with people. And look, I'm guilty of this too, where I want things now, right? And the truth of the matter, some of this stuff takes a long time. And I want to be crystal clear with you that if you're creating a new business, you're adding something new, you're trying a new marketing strategy, a new launch strategy, it's going to take time. I want you to ask yourself right now, are you willing to invest the time it takes to perfect it so that you reach your goal? Who here's a big yes? Love to hear that. What are you a big yes? Yes, I'm willing to invest the time it takes. So what if it takes you a year? What if it takes you 3 years? What if it takes you 5 years? The other day, I came across some posts that this woman that I'd followed for a while off and on, and she's writing her third book. And she said, I've been gathering data for 5 years. 5 years. I had to pause for a second and be like, damn. But for her, this is part of her mission of her business. So for her, 5 years gathering information to write her third book, that's part of her process. So what if it takes you a year before you do X, Y, and Z? I have to really give this remind myself of this, because sometimes I want things now. And when it doesn't pan out, I have to remind myself not to give up, not to say this doesn't work, right? It's about making this decision ahead of time that whatever decision I make, I'm going to see it to the end until I get new information. Because sometimes, of course, you have to adjust. But sometimes the problem that I see online is people are like, they're grasping this. I'm going to do this launch. I'm going to do this style. I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to try this. And they do nothing well. It's just scattered. It's a little of this, a little of that. And there's no synthesis. There's no, compiling that information to have something strong, because people are so impatient. So today I want to leave you with, are you too impatient? Do you have a strategy? Are you thinking long term? What do you want to get out of 2022? What do you want to get out of 2030? Where do you want to be? And are you making decisions from that place? So enjoy the day. I want to definitely hear your results around this, and like, how has this triggered you? Where you're like, all right, how has this triggered you? So that you're thinking, oh my God, I never think long-term like that. Or are you thinking, of course, I already know my 5-year plan, my 10-year plan. Here's the thing. Somebody said to me the other day, but what about COVID that threw a wrench in everything? While it's true that stuff comes up, COVID, your mom gets sick, your dog gets run over, like blah, 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 whatever. Yesterday morning, my day started out with my dog eating our vitamins. That's not how I planned to start the day. The potential that my dog was going to die. He didn't. He's fine. I called poison control $65 later. She said he's fine. Boom. But stuff happens. And so your excuse of I can't plan out into the future is simply that, an excuse. It's better to plan out for the future and tweak things along the way as needed than to not have a big strategy for your future. All right, enjoy the rest of the day. I will see you next time with number 6 out of the 7 mistakes I've made building the 7-figure business over the last 8 years. Talk to you later.